Hello everybody, welcome back. We're doing the game of Active Directory, and this time we're looking at those Nmap results. In our last video, we set up an SS session to our Kelly box, which is already sitting in our target network. If you recall, we identified the 5 target hosts that you wanted to scan. We ran the scan and we save the scan results to a particular folder. Looking at all on that screen, we created an Nmap folder over there, and that is where we've got our Nmap results. And today we're going to do exactly that. We're just going to be looking at the outputs. There you go. These are the files that we generated. We ran Nmap, and then we save the output of that Nmap scan to these 5 files over there. The one thing I should let you know is that something went horribly wrong with the lab. I came back one day, I booted up, it wouldn't boot. I don't know what happened, and then I had to rebuild the lab again. Fortunately, I followed my own notes, and within no time I was up and running. This is the reason the host name might seem a little bit different. So if you've been paying attention, you might have noticed that. As I said, today we'll be looking at those Nmap results. When you look at the Nmap output, let me just show you an example. So cat Nmap. Let's look at the first host. When you look at a result like this, it can be a little bit intimidating, especially if you haven't seen it before. Remember, this series is intended for the beginners, and I don't want to scare you guys too much. But once you've done this long enough, you'll realize that every single assessment or every box that you're going to evaluate, it always begins with an Nmap scan, and the Nmap scan is going to end up looking something like this. What I would like to do is just to make it a little bit more visually appealing, because all we have here is a bunch of text. Some key things may not be so easy to see. So what I would like to do is I want to take this output and put it on my favorite node application. By now, you should know that I like to use Obsidian. So let me open that. I'm just going to create a folder here. I'll name it Nmap Results. And then within there, we'll create our node, call it README, why not? And we are going to have hosts. We're going to have 5 of them. So I've been doing this for so long, I now know all the IP addresses by heart, and I think if you've been practicing, you'll also know these IP addresses as well. So we've got .10, 11, and 12, 22, and 23. Okay, so let's make some room, make some room, make some room, make some room. Within there, we are going to be okay. Come on. Oh, I know why. I've got an extra tick here. Okay, there you go. We do the same for 11, 12, 22, 23. So all these boxes, that's where our Nmap results are going to go. Okay, so let's go back to our shell. We've already catted the first one. Catted, that's a word, right? So let's just copy the output and we'll put it on our first box. Right click, paste. You'll see in a moment why I like to see that. Now it's a little bit more colorful. You can play around here. I've seen people say, Ruby, do you like that? I've seen people go Perl. I don't know what you like. I rather like Bash. It's simple and straightforward. But if you want a lot of colors, you can do that. It's just a way of making this output a little bit more visually appealing, you know? So what do you think? Too many colors? I actually like the way it highlights. Let's stick with this one for now. Okay, let's stick with this one for now. All right, so that's the output for the first host. And what you're looking at is your typical Nmap output. You see port numbers there, you see a description, and basically that's what a typical Nmap scan is going to look like, or an Nmap output is going to look like. It's going to list you the port number, whether it's your UDP or a TCP port. The way that we ran this particular command, for instance, it just I didn't copy that part where it actually shows us how we ran the command. Let's have a look. No, that's not. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. I did. Yeah, so that's how I ran the command. Okay. And in there, I didn't specify the flag SU to say I'm looking for UDP. So it's coming out as TCP. Anyway, it's not too important. Let me pause just a second. The one thing about work like this, or pen testing, or doing an assessment like this, is that there is a lot of assumed knowledge. Those assumptions are going to be made by me or by other people that try to explain content like this. And the assumed knowledge in this particular case is that it is assumed that you are already familiar with what service is running on which port. Okay, so I'll try and go a little bit slowly just to explicitly mention the port number and mention what service that is. But as you do this often, you will tend to notice that some services, they tend to run on the same service each time. You will come across situations where the person that made that box runs a web server perhaps on a different port. But in most cases, the port numbers that are listed here will be the standard ones. If you do not know what a port number represents and there isn't a description that tells you what that service is, you can always go to Google, and Google will oblige you. All right. Okay. So in this particular host, what do we see? We see port 53, which is a DNS. We see port 80. That tells me that there is some kind of a web page or a web service running over there. Microsoft's own web service is IIS, so that tells me that when we point our browser to that particular host, very likely we'll be greeted with a web page. And over there, I see port 88 for Kerberos. We'll be doing a lot of Kerberos related work, or we'll cover Kerberos in a little bit more detail in subsequent videos. We also say port 389. I'm going to stop there. I will not go to the rest of the list here. I am going to mention these ports because I want to tell you about something. Whenever I see a combination of port 53 for DNS, port 88 for Kerberos, port 89 for LDAP, port 45 for Samba, those ports there, in many training videos and in many instances, that appearing together like that, most probably that's going to be a domain controller. Okay, it will not always be that way. There are some people who believe in security through obscurity, meaning running a service on a port that is non-standard. For an example, you might find somebody running an FTP service on port 45 thinking they're being clever. That never works. You will find those situations, but in most cases, people will tend to run services uh, on the standard ports or on the conventional ports. Okay, so in this result, on the scan result, the most important takeaway, or what I want you to pay attention to, is these two lines: the domain name and DNS computer name. Loading the game of Active Directory, you already know that you're looking at an Active Directory lab. Okay, so what should come naturally is that you're looking to identify the host. You're looking to identify whether that host is acting as a domain controller, and you're also looking to identify the domains that those hosts belong to. Okay, so for now, I just want us just to concentrate on these two lines over here. Okay, so we're just going to put them here for now. I'm going to clean them up a little bit. We don't need that part. All right, so it's telling us that this particular host, it belongs to the domain sevenkingdoms.local, and this particular host, it's got a computer name called kingslanding.sevenkingdoms.local. Okay, I don't want us to go any further than that. I just want us to just to remember that detail. Okay, so we'll do the same for dot 11. We'll just go there and we just change that 0 to an 11. We'll do the same. Let's copy that. Paste it there. Do you want your colors back? Let's leave it as bash just for variety, okay? Let's have a look. What do we see? Again, we see port 53, port 88, port 389, port 445. So those services appearing together like that, it tells me that this could be an Active Directory controller. So I'm just going to copy those two. Paste. All right, let's be a little bit smarter here. So, okay, now we'll do that at the end. Okay, let's just keep going. Okay, so we're done with that one there. Actually, let's make it a little bit collapsible so that our nodes make sense. So we're going to collapse that. Before we do that, we need to do the same here. All right, so we don't want to see too much detail, so we're done with that one and we're done with that one. But before we do that, let's just do the same for everyone. Okay, so we're done with the first two. Let's do the same for dot 12. Let's create some space in here. Go back to our terminal window or our terminal. You know, this phone that I'm using as a camera, it keeps on cutting in and out. I don't know what's that about, but I can see it's still recording the video, so maybe I shouldn't worry too much. I should get a camera, proper camera, but we're not there yet, so we keep going. We'll make do with what we have. I do like that. Okay, so we're gonna copy that. Go back to our Obsidian notes. Going to paste that. All right. We're gonna have to do the same for 22. It's just to help to keep the notes in one place and to be able to, well, why do you like that? I see some green color. Okay, I know what causes that. We'll come back to that. So let's do the last one, 23. Okay, here we go. All right, let me copy that. And we paste there. Okay, here we go. So let's go back. We're looking for the DNS name, DNS computer name, and the domain information. Okay, so let's paste that there. It's going to be very useful to us in a moment. And we do the same for 22. Okay, I know what's causing that green. It's that apostrophe there. All right, so if I do that, and then hey presto, everything is consistent again. All right, and from 3389, we look for DNS name, DNS computer name, and domain name. Okay, just want to extract that information and put it here. It's going to come in very handy in a moment. Okay, so stay with me. Let's do the last one. Is 3389? There's 3389. Good. There's DNS name, DNS computer name, and the domain name. Okay, so all we're doing so far, we are extracting information about what domain each host belongs to. Okay, right. So we've done all of that. Now we do what? I'm gonna open a. Hang on. I'm gonna open a new section here called the domains. Okay, domains. All right, because we need to identify our domain. Okay, so let's collapse this one, starting from the top. Okay, so the first one, let's just cut that. Now in the domain area, so what I'm going to do is we've got a domain called 7kingdoms.local. And it has a host called that, and that's the IP address. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to list the services. Okay, by port numbers. Okay, let's say port numbers. Port numbers. This information will come in very handy in a moment. Okay, so on the first one, I'll say notable port numbers. Okay, notable port numbers. So I did mention we've got 53, 80, 88, 389, which is the LDAP, and SMB. Okay, so we saw these port numbers, notable port numbers. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, that's that IP address there. Okay, now we're done with that. Now we're doing the next one. Okay, the next one, what domain does it belong to? There's a domain called north.7kingdoms.local. Okay, so we are going to open up another section here for that domain there. Okay, now we can get rid of that line. And then in here, we've got host. winterfell.north.7kingdoms.com. All right, so we're talking about 192.168.56.11, and then we're gonna say again notable port numbers, because we want to be able to identify which one of these hosts is a domain controller and which one is just a member within that domain. Okay, all right. So let's go to 11, and indeed we see 5888. There's no port 80, meaning there's no web server running over here. We see 389, we see 445. Okay, so that's dot 11, so there is no port 80. Okay, so we shouldn't waste our time trying to open that particular page. Okay, all right, so we're done with that. So let's just close. Now we go to 12. 12, what have you got for us? 12 says I belong to the domain called esos.local. Okay, so we need to open up another one here. All right, 1 2 3. esos.local. I don't know how you say that. I cannot remember how it was said in the TV series, so if I've butchered the name, I am sorry. Okay, now it tells us there's a host there called Marine. Okay, host. I'm just gonna cut that, delete that, paste that, and let's copy that section there as well, or that line there as well. Port numbers, let's go verify. This is now 12, if I recall. 192.168.56.12. Let's go look at the port numbers on .12. We see 5388. Yep, that's a domain controller. No port 80. We do see a 389 for LDAP and a 445. We'll end there. Yeah, so that's fine. Those are the port numbers exactly like that one there. So we've got our 3 domains. So we're done there. Now let's have a look at this one. This one, we do not see a port 80. We do not see a, sorry, we do see a port 80, but we do not see a port 88. We do not see a port 53. We do not see a port 389. So this one here is unlikely to be a domain controller. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's have a look at this one here, which is 22. Which domain does it belong to? It belongs to north.7kingdoms.local. Okay, so 11 was a domain controller because of those ports there, and this one is just a member. So what I'm going to do there, what have I done? Control, so that's a DC. Okay, so that's a DC, and we're saying, all right, fine. We've got another host here called north.7kingdoms.local. Let's paste that there. And that IP address was 22. 56.22. All right. Right. And there you go. And what about port numbers? me delete that. So let's scroll back to 22. Now 22 has 80, 445, and here's this new one that we haven't seen before among the others called 1433, and that one there, it's the MySQL server. Okay, that's fine. We're just going to list those three: the web server, the Samba server, and Microsoft SQL. So it's the web server, Samba server 1433. So that domain there, it's got two hosts. I didn't say hosts there. Let's be consistent. All right. That was 22, so we can get rid of all this. Right, and we close 22. And finally, we're doing 23 and 23. It is also not a domain controller because it does not have port 53. It doesn't have port 88. It does have the web server port 80. It does have Samba. And look at that. It also has got MySQL. But let's not jump the gun. We need to identify what domain it belongs to. It belongs to asos.local. So in other words, we're going to have an additional host there. So let's make room for that. So we're also going to have host information, and we are going to have notable port numbers. Okay, so we said the host is Bravos. Okay, and that one there is running on 23. 192.168.56.2.3, and the port numbers are exactly as the other one. 80, 445, 1433. 80, meaning there's a web server running there. 445, 1433. All right. So what do we have? We've got three domains: sevenkingdoms.local, north.sevenkingdoms.local, esos.local. Sevenkingdoms.local has one host. North.sevenkingdoms.local has got two hosts, and esos.local has one. How does that compare with the picture? Yep, there you go. Three domain controllers. If you can watch my screen, if I can just get my ugly face out of view for a while. Yeah, there's our three domains: sevenkingdoms.local, north.sevenkingdoms.local, and asos.local, which is in keeping with what we saw there. Okay. All right, so this video has been going for how long? No idea. There is one more thing that I wanted to show you about Nmap. Now that we have worked out what our layout of our domain controllers and their participating hosts, I wanted to show you something that I thought was very useful. Well, at least to me. Okay. Now, when you run Nmap, or when we ran Nmap, we included this switch here. So I think that one there, it means all output formats. So what does it mean? It means that when we change a directory to where we've saved our Nmap output, so let's do that, and we list the files. We notice that for each host there's 3 outputs. This is the one we've been copying. This is the one we've been sending to Obsidian. But we still have got that, and we still have got that. So that one there, it's called the greppable output. It looks very strange. It looks like this. Let me just show you. Enter. Yeah. So I don't use that, but apparently it's useful when you want to use grep, and it's called greppable output, to do something useful. I googled around to find a use case for an output like that. I'll show you a command that I found very useful indeed. Let me just put that out of view. So supposing you didn't want any of that output and you didn't want any of this output, but you needed very quickly to get a list of all open ports, just open ports. Okay, so with that greppable output you could do something like this. So I'm just going to copy the command because I did that little bit of homework before starting this video, but you could run a command like that. Okay, and we point it to the greppable output there. Oh, greppable Nmap, that's what the G Nmap is for. You learn every day. You see, this is another reason I decided to make these videos, because sometimes when you try to explain something to somebody, some of the detail becomes apparent to you. I never noticed that G Nmap means greppable output. I think so. Anyway, I haven't looked at the man pages, but I think that's what it means. Let's run that command. Oh, would you look at that? How beautiful it is. So it's listing every open port from our command. Okay, I don't know all of them. I know that is RDP. I believe that is secure encrypted LDAP. I think that is just encrypted LDAP. Not sure what that is. It's probably unencrypted LDAP. Oh, encrypted LDAP, but not secure. I don't know what that is, so it's not too important for that. But as I said, you can always come and have a look here, and it will always tell you what it is, or you could Google it. It's not very important, but yeah, I just wanted to show you what the greppable Nmap output looks like and how you could possibly use it. Is that useful to you? Well, I haven't had to use it, but I can see where I would like to use it. If I wanted to quickly have a look at all the open ports, yeah, that Yeah, that could be useful. All right. Okay, so let's go back to our list. One more thing that I wanted to show you is there's also an XML output. Um, well, nothing, um, nothing to say about an XML output except that, well, it's an XML and you could feed it to um, lots of enumeration um, um, tools available out there. There are many graphic tools that can take output from Nmap, and this XML output would be useful for such tools. I believe, oh no, I can't remember the tool, but I did find something very useful. Look, you could obviously, you could try and view the file like this. As you would expect, it would be, okay, let me just type it out. My mouse is not working very well. .10.xml. Okay, that is absolutely not very useful to us looking like that. But I did also find a command that does something very, very interesting. The command is called xsl proc. xsl proc. What is it? Okay, let's see if we can find xsl proc. Oh no, let's do it the other way around. xsl t proc. xsl t. There you go. Let's see. Yeah, well, it doesn't describe very well what it does, but let me just show you. Okay, I'm just going to show you because much like the greppable output command, I also did some homework for this particular command, and that one is going to do something very interesting. So what it does is it's going to take, at least the way I understand it, it's going to take that XML output, apply some style to it, and give you a nicely formatted HTML. Warning, the compiled. I don't know what the warning is about. Let's see. Did it create anything? Yes, there's the HTML output. And so to view it, I suppose we can start Python -m. We're looking for the HTTP module on port, I don't know, 8080. And then we can start a browser and try to access 2.120, which is our Kali box. That gives me a list of all the output from Nmap, but the file that we've just created is that one there. So when we open it, would you look at that? Pretty, very pretty. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Huh? You learn every day, huh? You could take an output like this and put it in a report if you didn't want to be giving them something that looks like that. Okay, take your pick. This or that. What looks better in a pentest report? Hmm? You tell me. I think I think this one looks pretty. Hmm? This is something that you could forward to somebody and it's already formatted and yeah, I like that. Okay, we'll stop the video here. If I can just make a recap of what we've done. All we've done is we've taken the output and we've put it in Obsidian just so that it looks a little bit pretty, but I see this is even prettier. Okay, so we put it in Obsidian, and then within Obsidian what we did was it helped us identify the domains and what are the member uh, hosts or computers that belong to that particular domain. Look, you could have easily just opened up that particular image and derive that information. You could have easily done that. But I just wanted to demonstrate how you could use Nmap to build a picture like this. 3 domains identified and their member computers. Okay. That's it. The only other thing left to do is to push these nodes to GitHub. Actually, before I do that, let's just add the 2 commands. I'm just gonna say 2 commands. I'll think of a better way of expressing it a little bit later. The first one, for a sorted list of open ports. Again, bash. Hopefully you find it useful. And then the second command, that's the one that takes the XML output and makes it look pretty. Okay, here we are. I'm gonna put it here. All right. Bash. Bash. Right? Does it look pretty? A little bit. Okay. There's your Ruby if you want. That's much prettier. How about that, huh? That's much better. Huh? Oh, I love Obsidian. Okay. So, suggest a better title there. I think I'm just a little bit tired and the video is already run too long. Okay, so I'm just going to save this. I'm going to send this to GitHub, and I'm going to say Nmap Results. Commit, yes. Sync changes, yes. Let's go have a look. GitHub. Let's go have a look there. Let's go to look at home page, repositories. It's in the write-up. And within there, there's Nmap Results. There you go. There's our pretty. Oh, wow. Okay. There you go. I didn't know those colors translate as well to GitHub. I like that. Where's our 2 commands? There's our 2 commands. That's it. That's all I have for you today. If you liked what I had to show you today, please do like and also subscribe so that when I release the next one, you get that notification. If you know anyone who can benefit from this video, please do share it with them as well. Thank you.